To go, and I'm already getting tweets from people going, "You're not live," but we're live now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the brand new show. Our first time we try something like this. It's almost like I don't want to say a game show, but it's a little more competitive. Actually, it's completely competitive now. This is called the Verbal Scrap. Basically, you guys are gonna catch on to how it is. If you guys ever seen shows like Around the Horn type of deal, it's gonna be kind of like that. With a few, obviously, just MMA stuff. We're not gonna be talking about football, basketball, none of that shit. Not politics, none of that. And today on the very first show, normally we're gonna try to have between 3 or 4 people. Today we have 3. Jesse is unfortunately out sick as hell. Yeah, he's sick as hell. So he's out for tonight. So in today's show, we have Mr. Fred Kirby at Ohio, Dave Rodriguez at ABQ, and making his return, Aaron Robbins. Fellas, we're gonna get started here. First topic of this is round 1, by the way. So the two guys that have the most, I guess, points or topic points, whatever you want to call them. Move on to the final round, and the one that doesn't gets muted. So you're not getting kicked off the show because we're gonna bring everybody back at the end and shoot the shit, but you're gonna get muted, and no one's gonna hear your shit. That's kind of how it goes. Everyone's gonna have 2 minutes per topic. Whether you can go up to those 2 minutes. You use 10 seconds, I don't give a fuck. All right, but if you cannot go past 2 minutes, I will mute your ass. That's how it works. All right, and I am judge, jury, and executioner on this shit. And as we go obviously through the weeks, we'll figure out whether we have different judges or not. And yeah, everyone's gonna we have some fun with this one. So round 1, we're gonna talk Mayweather versus McGregor. Of course, everyone's seen McGregor was at the boxing match in New York the other day. Wasn't that the other day? It was yesterday, I think. With Michael Conlon, I believe the fellow's name there. He was actually, what's funny? He was actually shooting or shouting out fucking instructions to a boxer that's been doing it his whole life. Because an MMA guy trying to tell the other dude how to box. To me, it was fucking hilarious. But it is what it is. So Mayweather versus McGregor. With all the talk of Mayweather and McGregor, both of them talking in the media, Mayweather's constantly talking about it, basically jabbing at McGregor. McGregor's showing up the boxing matches, talking about, talking to the boxing media and shit, talking about how he's going to come up. So, with the mindset of an MMA fan, a hardcore MMA fan, with MMA's interests at hand, should this fight happen and will it happen? I actually set the order here by coin flip. Next time I'll do it on camera so you guys know. And the one to go first is Dave Rodriguez. You have 2 minutes, sir. Go for it.
All right, yeah. From the viewpoint of MMA, I mean, I was going to talk about this Saturday on ESPN Radio here in Albuquerque, and everything is pretty much set in stone. I mean, as far as Conor goes, him appearing at the Mike Conlon fight, backing up his guy, his native countryman as well. I think it's up to Dana White, I guess, at this point. Dana pretty much said that he's not going to hold Conor back. We all, as hardcore fans, do want to see Conor come back, and the Khabib Ferguson fight dropping out kind of fucked that shit up a little bit. But I thought Conor would immediately try to come back in and defend the belt. But there is tons of money on the line here. It involves Floyd Money Mayweather. We've heard a little bit of rumors about him actually having like some bad business deals or being scammed out of some money. So I think it was coming from Michael Bisping is what it was. So apparently Floyd wants to make up for that cash, and Conor wants to make the most cash possible, and probably more than likely not return to MMA if he does fight Mayweather. But coming from the viewpoint of MMA, I just want to see Conor back in there defending the gold. Hopefully it does happen. I mean, if it does happen where Dana White tries to reel him back in, it's going to have to be for a shit ton of money. So if he cashes in on the Mayweather sweepstakes, that pretty much takes Conor McGregor out of the UFC, in my opinion. So yeah, I really think that I think that we haven't seen the last of McGregor yet, though. But if the Mayweather fight does happen, you'll probably likely never see Conor come back ever again.
In your opinion, should it happen? Like, do you want to see it happen, basically?
No, I don't want to see it happen because you guys know me. It's all about the best fighting the best, and Conor's proven that he's made history. He's really in a position now where he can make a shit ton of money or come back and try to build that legacy up in the UFC, where he's already pretty much a Hall of Famer at this point in a lot of people's eyes. So I don't want to see it happen, but I indeed think that the timetable and everything in place, it's going to happen somehow, somewhere.
All right, no, that's it's minute 40 there. All right, moving on here. Fred Kirby, you were number 2. Again, should this fight happen? Will it happen? But should this fight happen from the MMA fan perspective? Go ahead.
Okay. Will it happen? First, let's answer that question. Will it happen? At this fucking point, I swear to God, I was talking to somebody about this other day, and I equated to like Donald Trump, right? When I first heard that cocksucker was running for president, I thought, no fucking way. Lo and behold, here we sit, throne. I feel the exact same way about this fight. When it first got floated, I was like, no fucking way Is it even fucking? Could it even get sanctioned? Like, no way they let Conor go fucking box Floyd Mayweather. But I'll be a son of a bitch, man. They don't just keep talking about it. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Will it happen? It looks like abso-fucking-lutely it's going down, son. I would bet fucking September if it happens. Now, should it happen? Yeah. You make it a big, from an MMA perspective or boxing.
Mm-hmm.
Who gives a shit? Boxing, or rather, Conor McGregor has nothing to fucking lose, Jack. He's going to boxing. Everybody who knows their ass from a hole in the ground expects him to get fucking thumped on. So if the cute little Irish prick actually lands a punch or survives 5 or 6 rounds, it's a win. And he brings all that fucking good juju back to the UFC. The UFC is going to do it because they need to make fucking money like a goddamn whore on Main Street right now because they're fucking bleeding it. $4 billion, they can get a big chunk of that shit back on one little goofy boxing match. Fuck yeah. It is going to happen, and it's a good thing from fucking everybody.
There you go. All right, Aaron. Should this fight happen? First of all, do you think it's going to happen? And do you want to see it happen as an MMA fan? Go ahead.
Hold on a second. Let me get rid of this on here.
All right. Oh shit.
All right. So I'm on the computer. Right?
Total Rico.
Oh, the Matrix. All right.
There we go.
All right. So do I think the fight's going to happen? Yeah. Just recently, I guess I've changed my mind. I actually did an entire show with Fred where, no, I did not believe it was going to happen. Now with the way that Mayweather is responding to it, I do think it's going to happen. And I think it's just kind of one of those by popular demand that it is going to happen. I don't know when it's going to happen. I guess September or end of summer, beginning of fall is like the overall consensus of when it's going to happen. And then the other question is, should it happen? I don't know about that. I'll tell you this, and I've told Fred this a bunch of times. I don't think Conor McGregor is anywhere near the best fighter in MMA or the UFC. And he's sure as hell not a good boxer. But he is very, very smart because this could be a one-off and done. I mean, honestly, he manipulated the UFC enough to get to where he is, to never defend a title, to have 2 titles, to do whatever he wanted to. Now he gets to jump ship from the UFC. He gets to jump. How many boxers would love to scrap with Floyd? And he floats right to the top of the toilet and gets to have this one fight. Win, lose, or draw, this guy can be done. Because I don't think after this, I don't believe he has any interest in coming back to the UFC. I think this is his retirement plan. I think this is the swan song. I manipulated the UFC all the way to the top. I made as much money as I could here. I'm going to have this one-off boxing match where win, lose, or draw, I make ton. And that's it. And of McGregor. Who cares?
There you go. Actually, I like that point though. You know, who cares, whatever. But I mean, I agree with Aaron on this one, just because like retirement fight, make what's gonna make 25 million, 50 million, 100 million, maybe. Who knows what the number's gonna be? Why would you continue to fight? You're fucking set for life. Call it a night. But with the arguments made on that one, I got to give it to Mr. Fred Kirby. Came with the fire, made all the big points and everything. So that's gonna be one topic to Fred. And moving on to the second topic here. Now, Matt Hughes talking about he's in talks already. It's not even he's thinking about it. He's in talks to come back for the right fight. Now, we just saw BJ Penn come back and get his ass handed to him by Yair. Before that, we saw him get destroyed by, Frankie Edgar, and Nick Diaz tagged him up and all that. So, but the Yair Rodriguez fight really sent it home, I think, for me, as far as, why these guys keep coming back to fight. So, starting here with Fred, since he won the last one. Fred, do you think Matt Hughes is going to come back, and do you want to see him come back?
Okay, so do I want to see him come back? On one hand, for any kind of competitive reasons, I would say fuck no, right? Mm-hmm. Like last time we seen Matt Hughes, he was getting starched out by BJ, and that's saying a lot these fucking days. But I tell you what, I'm going to say yeah, for 2 reasons. A, Matt strikes me as a cunt, generally speaking. Fucking hunting pretty animals and shit. And B, he's had a fucking cushy job. Getting paid the fuck off in the UFC offices. Fucking daddy comes home and he gets fired. Now all of a sudden he's got to fight? For what? What's he been doing with all this money he's been getting the last few years? He's been fired from the UFC for like 6 days. Already he's fucking looking for a fight somewhere like he's on fucking Dana White's reality show. Fuck yeah. Let the old prick come back. And you know what? I tell you another thing. I say don't live him a softball. Give him somebody that's going to throw him a little bit of a beating. Remind him why he's fucking retired. Stay that goddamn way. Let's make an example of Matt Hughes. Bring him back and give him, what's he fighting at, 170? Who's over there in Bellator? Give him fucking Michael Venom Page or something. Beat him to the wolves, goddammit. You want to come back? Come back and get your fucking self took out on a shield.
That's fucked up. Let's throw him a beating. Let's throw a legend a beating. What the fuck? All right. Aaron, you were second on that last one, so you go ahead. Matt Hughes, talking about he's already in talks for a retirement fight. Should he come back?
All right, now if he comes back, is it definitely Bellator or is it the UFC?
It looks like it's. I mean, talks are supposedly Bellator, but no one's really sure.
Yeah. Then why not? Absolutely. That's what Bellator is all about. It's the retirement league. This is the Masters. That's what Bellator is. Like the Masters golf. That's what Bellator is. It's the Masters. And really, does it make a difference as long as it's not Hoyce again? Hoyce is like 98 years old and got beat by Hughes before. I'm exactly with Kirby. I've actually brought up the UFC top 15 to see who should throw him a beating. But that's what I'm talking about. Take a legitimate guy from Bellator and make this his stepping stone. Do that for a guy over in Bellator. A legitimate prospect at 170. Give him a used up Matt Hughes. Show Matt Hughes what's up, that you haven't progressed in the game like other people have. Have him get the shit kicked out of him while making a brand new star at 170 for Bellator. Win for the casual fans. Matt Hughes gets a paycheck, and I get to see that guy get thrown a beating because I can't fucking stand him since 15 years ago.
Damn, man. And no love for Matt Hughes in this house. Dave, whenever you're ready, what are you thinking on this?
Yeah, I mean, I agree a lot to what Fred and Aaron said. I mean, it's pretty much, like you said, it's for Bellator, so it fits the model of what Bellator's matchmaking is geared towards now. And I kind of side with Aaron. As long as it's not Hoyce, I do really like the idea of like who was the guy that Mauricio Alonso, the guy that fought Josh Koscheck, kind of like a similar type fight here where Alonso, an older type guy, but yeah, they could put him up against somebody who they want to get some push behind, and it's somewhat of a retirement league. I mean, Vitor Belfort's talking about MMARP, or Eugene Robinson's mentioned it. That's exactly what Bellator is there for. I just find it strange that all of a sudden Matt Hughes is somewhat freed from the UFC, and then he's therefore looking for a fight where, you know, when he was at the UFC, I mean, of course, they weren't going to allow him to fight there. He was in the position of, you know, promoting fighters and stuff like that. But maybe he had the itch to fight then. It took for the UFC being taken over by the WIMG and everything that fell out there, all the fighters being cut, all the losses being cut. And then here we have Matt Hughes also being part of that cutting process. And now he wants to fight. So I find that weird as fuck. But I really do. I'd like to see him come back. If it's Bellator, then yeah. I mean, fuck it. You know they're going to make something happen. I think Dan Hardy even said that he'd like to see him come back and fight somebody. But I don't know if it's going to be Dan Hardy, because Dan Hardy, he seems to want to fight too as well. But yeah, I think Matt Hughes comes back. But yeah, they could line him up with somebody decent in Bellator. I definitely agree with what Aaron said for sure.
Quick question. Paul Daly, how much does he weigh?
170.
Yeah, 170.
There you go.
Yep.
Have Paul Daly kill Matt Hughes.
Isn't he? He's lined up with Rory, right? Isn't he right now?
Paul Daly, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I forgot to say that everyone gets a minute to rebuttal, but it looks like everyone agreed. Does anyone want their minute? No.
I don't know, guys. Should we think we all just want like Matt Hughes to die? Is that what
Pretty
we all
much.
agreed on?
Look, here's the thing. I don't want to die.
Give us a second thought.
I think I'll fucking throw my 2 cents in. I want to see him against CM Punk in the UFC. Why the fuck not? The guy wants to fight, right? Throw him Matt Hughes.
They could, you know what? You know they could throw him is Mickey Gall. Maybe even they toss him Mickey Gall.
Did Eddie just win this round in 6 seconds?
UFC. UFC. Somebody like Tarek Safadine.
Yeah,
right.
That's legit.
Right,
Jesus Christ,
right, hovering at 11 or 12.
You really don't like him, do you?
What the fuck? Tarek right now is at 11 or 12. A win over Matt Hughes does him great, jumps him into the top 10, and he can start fighting other guys that get him the fights that he needs. That's fucking perfect, right?
No, I meant for Hughes. Like, you must really want to see Hughes die.
Everyone does.
Tarek Safadine?
He's a fucking prick.
All right. Real quick, this just gave me an awesome idea for the show. We're gonna break fourth wall real quick. Here's what we're gonna do with that minute of rebuttal. It's gonna be 2 minutes. All right. At the end of after everyone makes their point, it's gonna be 2 minutes of you guys can talk over each other if you fucking want to. Someone's gotta make their strong point and just fucking own. All right. So that's what.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, this is gonna get great because everyone's drinking. So this is gonna be fun. That round, I like Aaron Robbins made a good point. Went with the details in this shit. So he gets the round there. So Dave's gotta get himself on the board here on the next one, hopefully, to stay in the game. All right, next topic: GSP versus Bisping is the example. Okay, but are the days of earning your way to a title shot over? Back in the day, we used to be where so and so deserves a title shot, so and deserves a title shot. Now we're talking. I went over Dennis Siver's going to get you a 145 title shot. Conor McGregor. Fucking. You've seen plenty of examples. George St. Pierre comes back 3 years away. And he gets a middleweight shot, not even a fucking welterweight, a middleweight shot. All right. Are the days of a fair title shot over? All right. Since Aaron won that last round, Aaron, you go first.
For the time being, they are over. With the Ari Gold, Entourage, WME, UFC that it's become, they're over because WME doesn't give a fuck about the UFC, about the rankings, or who is best. They care about return on investment. That's what all of these big money title fights are, return on investment. Now, as far as I'm concerned, GSP versus Bisping doesn't make the most sense, but it doesn't matter what GSP does. There's a whole country full of very polite white people that want to see him back and are going to pay for that pay-per-view. So are they gone? For the time being, yes. And the reason being is that the parent company that owns the UFC doesn't give a fuck who the best fighter is or if they have the best of the best. They want the best return for their stockholders. That's what's going on right now. So as it is right now, if you care about the rankings, you're caring about the wrong sport.
All right. Number 2 there was Fred. Fred, what do you think?
Everybody's being a bunch of fucking whiny ass crybabies. The UFC, everybody, ooh, the whole hierarchy's gone. Belts don't mean nothing. Who the fuck is Mighty Mouse fighting? Fucking Wilson Hayes?
Yep.
Mighty Mouse would be fighting 6 different drunk midgets if they really wanted to sell this thing out. We haven't gone the way of the dodo bird just yet. Everybody's panicking. Listen, I'll give you this. Bisping GSP strikes me as a bit odd because I just don't think that's a money fight. But I don't think this is going to end up being the norm necessarily. They're going to take the – listen, the UFC's been doing this for a while. The Fertittas and Dana White actually found James Toney drunk on a bar stool. Randy Couture. It's an actual fact. It happened. So I don't think the world's coming to an end. Was part of the question, do we like this fight in general?
No, it was just are the days of a fair title shot over?
Nah, people are panicking. No, we'll be just fine.
All right, Dave.
It's a temporary thing for sure. It all started, basically when Conor did his thing and, earned the 145 title, took a loss to Nate, ended up getting the 55 title in the same calendar year where he took a loss. So that kind of, and then the money fight situation, we talked about on Advocates, money fights are against the Diaz. Now, I guess, GSP, now that the fight has been booked, him and Bisping, that somewhat of a money fight. I mean, George, the original king of pay-per-view before Conor. So there is a few matches that are geared towards, the WME or WME Hollywood effect. But we do see guys like, I see guys like Yair Rodriguez rising up, getting the title shot. Very pleased to see Max Holloway finally get the respect that he deserves and finally hold the gold right now because he is the champion. Conor basically, vacated the 45 belt and Aldo holds it for now until him and Max do their business. So there's a couple divisions where you see that the best are still fighting the best. And the 70 division, we can add that to the conversation as well because I see that as a division where Damian Maia is the next statement thing where, it's pretty much, the money fights are the money fights. We know what they are, but clearly there is, the temporary period where people are going to get excited about that. But hardcore fans are really going to pay attention to the rankings always, as I do myself, and I refer to them a lot on the show. So always the best fighting the best, and there is clear signs that hasn't completely died because I see the 45 division, 55 division, and the 70 all being the clear cases for that.
All right, we have 2 minutes for a rebuttal, so go ahead.
No, wait a second. Wait a second. First off, Fred talks like a true flat earther. Don't worry, everybody. It's going to even itself out. I mean, what the fuck are you talking about, Maya? Maya's not getting the next shot at 170, is he?
He should be.
When they fight Jorge Masvidal, I think if he does beat Damian Maia, he's the guy.
So bullshit. After he fights Jorge Masvidal, who's fucking talked himself into that fight with sensationalism, which is what fighters are being encouraged to do now. Because make no bones about it, Maia should be fighting for the title. He is the best 170 out there. He's smushed fucking everybody. When's the last time he lost? Anybody remember? I can't.
Canadian psychopath.
Yep.
Which, by the way, argues a better nickname. All right, 1 minute left. Anything?
Yeah, listen, hold before the rebuttals are over, I just want to say, Aaron, you are disqualified from winning this round, you cocksucker, because for months and years you've been saying that GSP wasn't coming back. Well, guess what, motherfucker? He's back, you cocksucker. He came back just to spite you. He heard and he said, I'm coming back.
No, I will admit that. That is fully so shocking to me. I thought he was gone forever. That's not what this is about. The debate is, Kirby, you're wrong. Dave, you're wrong. Go fuck yourselves.
You know what though? I like what Dave said, man. I think with the Maia Masvidal fight coming up, winner should be able to get a title shot. Maia has a lot to lose, so I'm gonna give that round to Dave here. So now we're all even. The winners of the next 2 rounds are gonna be the ones heading up to the next round here. All right, round number 4. Lorenz Larkin and Ryan Bader are joining Bellator. We've been saying it for years. When is Bellator going to catch up? Bellator's backed by Viacom money. They have tons of support behind them, but they cannot close the gap with the UFC. So now, with the UFC's, and their little time of weirdness, Bellator picks up 2 of their 2 fighters in the prime. Add that to the list of Rory McDonald, Phil Davis, and I forgot there was one more. I forgot, but regardless, all those guys are coming in their prime, arguably. So the question is Bellator finally catching up to the UFC? Dave, you won the last round. You go first.
We do talk about it a lot on Advocates. Mostly is this is a clear case where you sign Lorenz Larkin, you sign Ryan Bader. They signed Phil Davis. Phil Davis currently the champion. We talked about the Rory Daly fight. There's stars that are building up in Bellator, not necessarily these old shop-worn fighters. There's former champions. We're looking at Joe Duffy possibly joining the ranks of Bellator soon enough. He's pretty much in his prime and a guy that they added to the UFC pretty much to try to line him up with Conor at some point. So it's interesting that each and every time there is a controversial, whether it's a fighter on his last fight on his contract, the Bellator argument's there because we know, in fact, that Bellator will indeed snatch everybody they can up right now. I'm not saying they are catching up with the UFC, but they are building up, are going to have the ability to build these cards up with the co-main and main with names that the hardcore fans are going to tune in. And you can add those fights that we referred to earlier, the Hoist Gracie Matt Hughes fight. Fuck it, put it down there. Any type of Bellator card. There's Rampage and who's he fighting next? It's like a trilogy fight coming up, right?
For Rampage?
Yeah, Rampage fighting soon. So that's I think it's in the next 2 weeks. So there is indeed quite a few people from the UFC, former champions. So yeah, it's not like, Bellator has these older guys coming in. They got some young guns coming in. So they're taking every opportunity to snatch up what the UFC is going to give them as far as them having some salty negotiations with Dana and the new regime. But yeah, I think Bellator is doing their best to indeed try to build these cards up. And
30 seconds.
Props to Scott Coker for sure. He's doing a good job over there.
All right, so you think they are catching up?
I do think they are making steady progress.
All right, Aaron Robbins.
Okay, so it's not a trilogy fight. It's a rematch with King Lawal, King Mo.
Right.
Okay.
Not a trilogy match. Okay. All right, so I'm going to throw this out there. Are they catching up with him? No, and they never will because it's not the same product. Taco Bell does not have to catch McDonald's because they don't sell the same shit. Now, is Bellator getting better? Yes. Bellator is getting better for the hardcore fan because they want a better quality of fighter. But is it necessary for Bellator to catch the product UFC? No, I don't think so. They've cornered their market. They've already shown that in some of their fights, they get this free TV market that the UFC doesn't get. And I think they would be smarter to just worry about enriching their overall lineup of fights and fighters and still have these sensational rematches, these sensational dream master matches, and get this huge corner on the free TV market and not worry about competing with the giant that is the UFC. The UFC is always going to attract a different type of person. Me, Dave, Fred, the hardcore fighters that don't care if the fights are sensational or even good. We're just addicted. We're going to do it. Bellator is for the fat slob on the couch that when somebody is down on the mat, they're like, well, why doesn't he just stand up? It's the casual fan, and they have that market, and that's great. So if they're smart, that's where Coker and Viacom are going to stay. Keep enriching your lineup, great, but don't try to catch something that you're not doing the same thing. It's not like Nike and Reebok. It's more like I said, Taco Bell and Burger King. Completely different thing, and Bellator's doing great with it.
All right, Fred.
All right, no, it is the same goddamn thing. They both sell tacos, you fucking asshole. It's the same sport. What do they fucking fight with sticks in one? You prick you. Listen, with the utmost respect, fuck Ryan Bader and Lorenz Larkin. They're not the point. Were they decent signings? Sure. But they're not going to win this battle. Why I think that Bellator's making small strides, for sure. But the reason that I think that Bellator actually may either catch the UFC or possibly even surpass them, and we allude to it all the time, is their new owners. These cats aren't fight fans. One thing you have to give Dana White and the Fertitta brothers, they were hardcore fight fans. The boxing game, fucking jiu-jitsu, they understood this shit. They knew where to scout good fighters at. They knew how to market them. They knew the whole nine, man. They knew this game. Ari Gold, as much of a fun character on Entourage as he is, they're Hollywood people, man. And I don't necessarily know if this is all going to translate. I don't know if the idea of these money fights, of course, Conor and Floyd's a great idea. There's fucking $1 billion to be made. But are they going to be recruiting the new Conors? Or is Scott Coker going to have one up on him because he knows what the fuck he's doing? And he's been doing it for 25 years. Over the next 3 years, we may very well see Bellator start to come up and actually rival the UFC. And if the UFC blows it in a major way, we could see Bellator surpass them. Yeah, it's possible.
All right. We have 2 minutes of rebuttal. Go for it.
Yeah, look at Bjorn Rebney now, the position that he's in. Say they didn't put Coker in that position, Bellator would be complete shit. So with Coker, like Fred said, as far as him being in the business and being a hardcore fan and running Bellator the way he is, that's why you're seeing the strides that they're making. So indeed, like I mentioned, Scott Coker doing all the right things, because if Bjorn was the man behind the curtain, he could be the man behind the curtain at the MMAAA, and he ain't doing shit. So for sure.
Anybody else?
I don't think it was a debate whether or not Bellator had owners that were fans or not. It's whether they're catching up. No, they will never catch up. They are enriching their lineup. That's it. There is no catching a Kenyan in a fucking marathon. That's what
Did you just call the UFC African American, Mr. Robbins?
No, he called him Kenyan. They're not American.
I'm pretty sure you offended somebody. Oh yeah, just African.
He got put on a fucking list with a smiling, like a biggest smiling face ever. Okay, what do you expect him to do? All right, if we're done with the rebuttals, that one goes to Mr. Aaron Robbins. That was too fucking good. All right, so whoever wins this next round is going to meet up with him in the finals. And of course, the subject that's near and dear to our hearts here, marijuana. Marijuana and MMA. Now, we just had 3 fighters get suspended: Nico Price, Curtis Blaze, and Abel Trujillo. They all tested positive in Texas. They're being suspended for 90 days and fined $1,000 by Texas, not by USADA. There's no, I haven't heard anything about USADA, but regardless, we've seen them do some crazy shit. Nick Diaz getting suspended for years and then had to, bring in a fucking hilarious baller-ass attorney to get him out of it. Everyone thinks that for the same reason, because Nick got busted for weed, Nate's going to get busted for weed, also this shit. Plenty of fighters get busted for weed. And other sports is ridiculous. So let's talk marijuana and MMA. Is marijuana a substance that should remain banned in combat sports? Aaron won the last round. Aaron goes first.
All right. as far as I understand from my own personal use, which was extensive and heavy, marijuana does not enhance your performance as an athlete. Now, it may make you calmer and it may make you nicer, but it's not a performance enhancing drug. It's not like human growth hormone. It's not like DECA. It's not like testosterone. As far as USADA is concerned and the sport is concerned, leave it the fuck alone. Okay? It's unnecessary to make it a banned substance because we're worried about how they perform. It's the same thing with Michael Phelps in the Olympics. Give me a break. The guy's a natural freak. If he wants to smoke some weed, great. However, it is not completely legal in all 50 states, and federally it is illegal. So if you are going to do it, athletes, stop being assholes and putting it on your Instagram. That's probably the biggest problem at this point. If you want to smoke weed, great. I'm all for it. Everybody make their own choices. USADA, leave them alone. Athletes, be a little bit smarter. But should it be banned? No.
All right. So Eric Robin says no. Brett Kirby.
Ban that goddamn devil's lettuce. It's fucking got all these fighters all hopped up and exercising way too hard. I mean, what the fuck are we talking about, man? I like to argue, so I was just sitting here kind of thinking of a way to maybe play devil's advocate on this one. Of course not, man. Like, why would we? It's absolutely not a performance enhancer. I mean, like Aaron said, it could make you a little mellow. I suppose there are maybe slight instances where it could like help you and benefit training, maybe some, but no more than alcohol would help you relaxing at the end of the day or some shit like that. So the fact that it's illegal is fucking ridiculous. Yeah, shit, this thing ain't gonna take long at all. And don't need no 2 minutes for this, Jack. There's really no argument for it. A better question would be that. Can anybody make one fucking point why it would be on the banned substance? I mean, I guess it's illegal, like by law, so maybe that's just it.
All right.
I don't know. Do you fuckers, do you think that they'll take it off? Like once it's actually legal on all 50 states? Like, do you think that would matter? Because why the fuck would it be banned? It's ridiculous. No.
Good point. Good point. All right, Dave.
This is reefer madness. We all know that. So the fact that Nick Diaz actually, when it actually did happen, I mean, didn't they put like a lifetime ban on the table or something like that, or 5-year ban? What the fuck was that? Like that would never happen to any other fighter except for a Diaz brother. You know what I mean? Like you said, Eddie, they did bring in, his attorney and threw that shit out, but it still set Nick back 2 years or year and a half or so in the prime of his career. So I see that as being a fucking travesty because it still kind of affects him to this day. So if they're going to ban marijuana, they might as well ban alcohol too as well while they're at it. But we know that's fine. It's not a PED. There's tons of fighters that do CBD oil and just smoke weed, out of competition for sure. So if you do it right and whatever, if you dodge these tests, whatever, there's fighters been smoking for years. It's no big thing. I just think that the whole Diaz thing, that was a clear case of like, what the fuck here? You know what I mean? Like, I think there was like a 10-year ban or something like that on the table, which that would never apply to anybody else. I don't care how bad of a whatever violation, whatever that did occur per fighter, but it's ridiculous. Like Fred said, can anybody actually make a point why they should keep it in place, whether it's legal in every state, which it's not. So great point there by Kirby, man.
All right, we got 2 minutes of rebuttals. It's close right now.
Listen,
so who wants to throw something out there?
My rebuttal is, you best not fucking let me lose this category while puffing the devil's lettuce, you cocksuckers.
Why did you put that on video, dude?
That sure is a win for me, motherfuckers.
What do you mean rebuttal? We all fucking agree.
Yeah, I know. But fucking someone's got to win the point. Someone's got to make a good fucking solidify the position here.
It was the most agreeable point ever. We had to kick you off the fucking show, Eddie. That was the worst last topic of all time. The most agreeable topic ever. Like, you would have to be such a cunt to be like, no, actually, exactly. I think that you should get fucking criminalized for smoking pot, Nick Diaz.
Well, we should have
exactly. Hey, could you three assholes make a serious point on why marijuana, the most popular substance in America, should be worse? No, we can't, because we don't want some fucking pothead killing us when we walk out of the fucking house tomorrow.
Oh shit! Okay, so this is clearly
No.
what's up?
No, so everybody at USADA, I'm sure, has seen Reefer Madness. So if not, then I guess it'll never be removed at that point, right?
I tell
Once
you
it's
what, that
legal.
Reefer Madness, that read between the lines, Kirby. You want to talk about some racist shit? Go watch that movie. That movie's racist as hell.
Reefer Madness is hilarious. Watch it high; it's even better.
It's
Straight
racist.
up.
It's true.
Watch
No,
out.
it is. All right, this is gonna be hard to figure out here because it is between Dave and Fred. But I like the Reefer Madness thing, man. So I'm gonna go with Dave here. Moving on to the next round against Aaron. So I know. So we're not gonna kick you out. We're just gonna mute you for the next round here, and we'll come back at the end and shoot the shit for a little bit, and we'll do our thing here. All right. Championship rounds. What's up? Oh, you said something.
Nothing, dude. This is the first time I've been on this kind of show. I didn't realize that I was gonna have to beat two people's asses.
Yeah. Well, what are you gonna do? 3 rounds. All right. Moving on here. So we got Aaron and Dave, and again, same rules apply. 2 minutes, and then 2 minutes of extra time and shit. So yeah, topic number one. Obviously, Tony Ferguson wasn't able to fight Khabib Nurmagomedov. Khabib couldn't make weight, had to go to the hospital, all that stuff. So Ferguson reportedly did not get his show money. Now the UFC, of course, has made a big deal about, not big deal, but they've been nice to other fighters. Said, "Oh, we're gonna give you show money. It's no problem. Don't worry about it." They did not give him his show money. Word is that he only got half of it. So the big debate started right after that. He announced that he leaked it. Whatever. Is the UFC obligated, or should the UFC give Tony Ferguson? Should the UFC have given Tony Ferguson his full show money? We're gonna go with Dave here because he won the last round. So Dave, what do you got?
I forgot who it was on the advocates. I think Jesse brought it up. In my opinion, the reason Tony got dealt the way he did is the new ownership, the $4 billion number. They're crunching numbers like crazy. It's not Tony's fault Khabib dropped out, but I don't think the UFC was obligated to give him anything. I think they rewarded him with $100K and offered him the fight against Michael Johnson, which totally glad that he turned that shit show down because Tony deserves a fight for the title next, whether it's Conor or if it was that fight. Indeed, he was in a position where he fully earned that spot in that position. So for him to take anything less and actually fight a guy where it's not going to do anything for him, super smart on that guy. I don't know what they do with him next, where they line him up with Nate or they actually put him in a position where he's going to get an even bigger payday against Conor. So, but if it was the old regime, but if it was the Fertitta brothers, I think they would have took care of Ferguson and happily paid him his show money. And I just think that's just the clear difference as far as Tony Ferguson goes, because him being a long-term veteran guy, company guy, always taking fights, fighting guys like Lando on 2 weeks' notice. He's on a hell of a streak, man. So yeah, I think Tony definitely deserved a little bit more, but the UFC totally wasn't obligated to give him shit. So he should be happy, and hopefully they get him in a big time fucking fight real soon.
All right, Aaron.
They weren't obligated. The fuck? They signed a contract to show. He showed he's a professional athlete. He showed up on weight. His fat cunt opponent, who pulls out more than anyone I've ever seen in my life, couldn't make weight. Absolutely. They are obligated to pay an athlete their money. They are contractually obligated to pay his show money. He trained. He made weight. He had to pay his camp. He had to pay his coaches. He had to pay for nutrition. He had to pay to be a professional fighter in the organization known as the UFC. They signed a contract. He showed they absolutely owe him that money. It is not his fault at all that his opponent could not be a professional, could not make weight. You cannot penalize a fighter after you've signed on the dotted line. As far as I'm concerned, that is a cunt maneuver. You get paid your show money if you show up ready to fight. You get your win purse if you win. Tony Ferguson showed he had no obligation to take that bullshit fight with Michael Johnson. Thank God he didn't. But he did what he was supposed to. And yes, absolutely, the UFC should have honored their contract with him.
All right. So we got 2 minutes of to make extra points here. Dave and Aaron, go ahead. Nothing?
No, man, I dropped the mic after I did that. That was it. Bang.
Dave, you're muted, dude. There you go.
Yeah, if it was in the contract 100%, they do need to stand by that contract, because it kind of reminds me of when was it Tyron Woodley fight Johnny Hendricks? Remember how Hendricks missed weight pretty badly, and Woodley stepped on the scale on weight, and I believe he got paid his entire show money then. So if it was structured that way, yeah, the UFC definitely had to take care of business there. Where as number crunching as they are right now currently, that they couldn't have missed that on the contract. So if Indeed was there, then they are obligated. But like I said, a big difference is contract. But of course, the Fertitta era WME, it is what it is. As long as Tony's not in a fuck position, but he's kind of in a weird territory right now where we don't know if we'll actually see him fight for the title anytime soon. So that sort of pisses me off on the side of a hardcore perspective, I guess you could say.
All right, I like Aaron on that one. He gets that first round. All right, so it's 1-0 right now, and basically if Aaron wins this next one, that's it. He's champ for this week. If Dave wins this one, we go into the third round, or the third question for this round. All right. Everyone's talking money fights. Everyone's talking Conor McGregor's a money fight, right? And he's clearly the guy that's the money fight. However, two of the guys that are being called out by fighters are being considered money fights. So it makes you wonder, are these guys money fights? They're brothers. They're Nick and Nate Diaz. Michael Bisping calling out Nick Diaz. Tom Woodley want to fight Nick Diaz. Tony Ferguson wants to fight Nate. Everyone wants to fight Nick and Nate. They think they're money fights. You got to think about it, though. Fred's losing his mind over there. Fucking, if you look at the score, it's funny. I don't know why I'm paying attention, but anyway, Aaron, you won that last round, so you go first. Are Nick and Nate Diaz money fights?
The Diaz brothers are money fights depending on who they fight. McGregor, doesn't matter if he fights the guy off the box of Lucky Charms. There's going to be an entire country dropping the 50 and change or the upwards of $1,000 to get into that arena plus travel. You have to put both Nick and Nate against the right guy. They are very unique in the fact that, yes, they're attractive as the opponent. They are not attractive as the money draw. Do they have a lot of fans? Absolutely. Are they going to bring interest to the show? Absolutely, but only if they are paired up with the right guy. McGregor can fight a boxer. He can fight a 145er. He can fight a 155er. He could fight at 170, and everybody would tune in to do that. But I can tell you from personal experience, there's only 3 or 4 fighters for Nick, 3 or 4 fighters for Nate that I would care. Other than that, it would just be your run-of-the-mill fight, and I don't think it would do any better numbers than any other fight in their weight class.
All right, Dave.
Oh yeah, the Diaz brothers, proven money fight guys. I mean, Nick more than Nate, I guess, and Nate's proven his worth here recently, in his bouts with Conor. But I mean, if you remember back when Nick was taking on George, I mean, he cashed in, I believe, like $750K, $500K easily then, and some fighters are lucky to get that now. Is like the John Joneses, even like Tyron Woodley himself as the champion, and then of course you factor in Conor bringing those $1 million paydays, where George was only one of those guys back in the day. But who did George get lined up with? Nick. Fucking payday for both. Nick, when he fought Anderson, I think he cashed in another $500K, $750 there as well. So Nick has been a proven money guy for many years. Even if it dates back to the Strikeforce days. But when he entered the UFC, he was put in the UFC for that very reason, and he has definitely got the title shot. So going forward now, I got to side with Aaron though. I think they'd have to line him up with the right opponent. Right now in the divisions that they are, there's sort of some roadblocks and some issues there. But we know who Nate wants to fight. And I do see Nick Diaz fighting Tyron Woodley soon, so they could raise enough scuff to make that fight a pretty good moneymaker. Tyron Woodley said he's want the money fight. They offered it to Nick before, he turned it down. I think he takes it this time up, and they match those guys up real soon. So yeah, the Diaz boys, proven money guys, and Nate more than Nick now, I guess you could say. But until Nick actually competes once again, so I think that's going to come to fruition very soon.
All right, 2 minutes to solidify your points. Anybody?
Dave solidified my point with everything that he said. Nick was a draw when he fought Anderson Silva, the best fighter on earth. Nick was a draw when he fought GSP, the most famous Canadian to ever come out of Canada. Nate was a draw when he fought Conor McGregor twice. Past that, money fight. Was Michael Johnson versus Nate Diaz a money fight? No. Was Nick Diaz versus Robbie Lawler back in the day a money fight? No. They are prone to their opponent. If you put one of the Diaz brothers up against a superstar, yes, super duper draw. If you put them up against somebody lackluster, the fight does no better than any other fight.
Dave, anything?
All right. Do you think, say Nate did beat Connor twice? Is Connor still a money fight, and is Nate even a bigger money fight at that point, though?
No, because Conor McGregor fans are fucking idiots. It doesn't matter how many times the guy loses.
See?
It doesn't
And
make
it came
any
real
difference.
close.
He would still be the money fight. He would still be the money fight, and Nate got lucky twice.
Fred's losing his mind over there. All right. That's going to be it. Fellas, it's clear to me. Aaron Robbins wins the very first verbal scrap here. Look, that was actually a lot of fun, I think, as far as we're going. So we'll go through that. Hey, whatever. I unmuted you. You have anything to say about that last one? Because I saw you fucking losing your mind.
No, I don't know. I was just freaking out.
Oh, okay.
He called Conor McGregor fans stupid, man. We ain't all stupid, man. Don't be mean, Aaron.
All right. So again,
yes, you are.
All right. Well, that's obviously Aaron's our winner. I think what did I put for Wednesday?
Yeah, you're the winner of a good big go fuck yourself, you cocky prick.
Okay, so winner gets to fucking what did I put on that shit? Oh, you get bragging rights, whatever that means, and you get to choose to be a judge next week, or the or topics or something like that for next week. We'll talk about it off air. If you're even available.
I will be the judge.
There you go.
I will be the judge. And Eddie Law, you finally have to do something instead of just fucking host these goddamn shows.
Listen, this fucking guy can't be the judge. That's not fair.
Fred, just a fucking prediction. You lose.
All right. So now we got a few minutes to shoot the shit, fellas. Anybody watch the Jimmy Manuwa fight?
Jimmy Manuwa.
Yeah, dude.
Are we all happy that fucking Corey Anderson got slept? Thank fucking God.
Yes, but no. Now he's asking for a title shot, dude. What the fuck you think about that?
Oh, Manuwa?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Why not? 205's light. Might as well. I mean, of course he's not going to get it, but swing for the fences, right?
Why the fuck not?
I think the most interesting thing that we heard from Jimmy Manuwa was you guys got to check out his post-fight conference interview where they questioned him about John Jones, about him wanting that matchup, where he didn't say he didn't want it. He just really brought up the USADA deal with John and said that I don't give a shit about John. He took steroids, and that has a lot to do with past performances, and it's sort of tainted in a way. So I thought that was an interesting thing coming from Jimmy Manuwa, coming off a real nice performance in his backyard. So he gave credit to Corey Anderson coming into his backyard, but Corey Anderson acting a little weird after that fight, a little too happy for him in a loss. I mean, it was a huge fight that he fucking totally blew, but the Manuwa Jones thing, not a bad idea.
I will tell you what, man, Dave, this is what I think, and I could be wrong, and you guys could disagree with me because I don't know where you feel on Corey Anderson. I think Corey Anderson should be ecstatic to be in the UFC. Plain and simple. Win, lose, or draw. My dude, you suck at everything. So the fact that you got to fight Jimmy Manuwa, yeah, be happy, man. You're in the UFC. Out of all sort of craziness, you are actually ranked high up in 205. Should Manuwa get a title fight? Absolutely. Whoever wins against DC and Rumble, throw Manuwa in there. Who gives a shit? It'll going to be two hard punchers because hopefully Rumble wins. Even if he doesn't, that's going to be fun to see DC throw Manuwa from side to side in the cage. Absolutely. Give him the title shot next. I love it. Love all of it.
Yep.
Here's a fun one. What's his name? Well, of course, I don't want to spoil it. Well, I'm fucking spoil for everybody. Spoiler alert. You get like 10 seconds to get the fuck off here. All right, like 30 seconds. All right. Spoiler alert. So Gunnar Nelson knocks out Alan Joban. That was a sick fucking knockout, honestly. But John Kavanagh threw out a potential matchup. Nelson Wonderboy. What do you guys think?
Very possible. Gunner's up there. He's rising those rankings.
Dude, I
don't know, man.
My fear, and I think Fred's probably going to say what I was going to say. but my fear is that you get Gunny and Wonderboy with that karate style, and then all it looks like is a Tekken game that's stuck on a loop.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They
tell you what,
don't pull that trigger. Now, Gunny, I think, has more killer instinct than Wonder Boy. So I'm not so sure about that because Gunny's got great ground game too, and Wonder Boy doesn't. I don't know, but I guess I don't understand that matchup at this point. It seems like he would just be like Tyron, but I guess Wonder Boy.
Shit.
I don't love that fight because I'm a big Gunner fan, man, and I like Gunner striking, but I think that maybe he might get a little cute because of what just happened with Wonder Boy. I think Wonder Boy is a better striker than Gunnar Nelson.
Yeah, for sure.
And if Gunnar Nelson don't try to get the takedown immediately and he tries to fucking do that fucking upright cutesy Leota Machida shit with Wonder Boy, he'll get fucking thunderstruck.
No, I agree, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, who else do they match him up with? I mean, 'cause right now at 170, I mean, we know that Nick Diaz is probably the front runner to get the title shot, but I think Gunner's maybe one, if not two fights away. But Stephen Thompson, it's odd to see that, you know, Carlos Condit's still right there at the top, like number 4 or 5. So, but after that, you got like Neil Magny. But Robbie Lawler, I think Wonder Boy said that he wanted to possibly be matched up against Robbie, where he thinks that gets him right back into a title contention. But I think Wonder Boy's got to fight at least 2 more fights before he actually gets a title shot if Woodley still holds the gold. But if Nick Diaz goes in there and snatches that shit up, then it's a whole new world at welterweight. So love to see that happen. But Gunner, though, he can't be denied any much longer. 1 or 2 fights at most.
All right. There's no, like, I don't think there's any UFC events until not next weekend, but the weekend after, or is it another weekend after that? It's like April 8th, I think is the next one.
2 weeks. So we got 2 weeks for DC to pull out. We got Combates.
Oh, you fucking jinxing this shit already.
We got Glory Kickboxing, Chai Lewis Perry going on this coming weekend. So yeah, not your complete MMA blackout, but UFC on blackout for 2 weeks. So
I'm okay with that. Everyone needs a break from this shit. All right. Anything else you guys want to talk about before we end this? Nothing? All right. Well,
Nope.
Hey, people are excited to have Aaron as judge next week, especially after that little ass exchange at the end there. Some of the comments here before we go. Mike Jarvis says, I like Aaron's idea about, you know, being the judge and all. I think he needs a gavel. He needs a gavel. And Georgie says, or play a bullhorn noise on his phone into the mic to interrupt. This might get fucking interesting next week, so make sure you guys tune back here. All right.
Yeah.
If that's gonna be it for us today, you can follow. Obviously, you can probably follow everybody here already on Twitter. You can follow me at Eli31. Fred's at Kirby_MMA. Dave's at Dave's MMA Brief. And don't get 2 shits. And
there's literally no other way you're watching this except for if you found it on Twitter. So
pretty much. So you already know. You know. You fucking know. All right. Make sure you hit up reptheadvocates.com. Get yourself some sick represent gear. Shout out to those guys for sponsoring us. And, of course, Crossbones MMA. And Mike Jarvis says, Aaron's still a cunt.
On that note.
It's 100% true.
All right. This will be up tomorrow on iTunes, Stitcher, and SoundCloud and all that shit. So I'll make sure you go on there because I fucking uploaded all the shit on there. So we're back fully loaded on there. Hit us up on there. Subscribe on iTunes and everything else.
Yeah. Share it. If I see fucking 50 views, I want 50 fucking retweets, you cocksuckers. Share it, subscribe, retweet.
You know what? I'm
please.
with Fred on that. You fuckers that watch us all the time, the 4 of yous, there's some sort of math out there. You could show it to 4 others who could show it to 4 others. And actually, you know, then maybe I would get a represent hat too. I'm just saying.
Oh, Georgie says tweet for tweet, motherfucker. I love this interactive live shit. All right, fellas. Everyone have a good night. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys next time. And good night, Wiltshire.